Hola, Gringos y Gringos. Welcome to
Gringos Are Us, expats with the plan.
Guess what happened today? Woo! We'll give you the story
right after this.
Welcome back. We're excited. Can you tell?
It was a good day, but not without stress. Because, you know, whenever we have to do something that involves a government entity, nothing quite goes as planned. So, the good part, which we've been trying to keep everybody up to date on, was that my original appointment was for next week, but I was only able to get one, and Gina was going to have to stay here while I lived in Mexico. But the Kansas City Consulate went out of their way and sent us an email and said, hey, if you guys want to come in a week early, we can see both of you. And so today was a week early, so we took it. Yep.
Last minute, throw it together, haul it on in there.
Took everything, put it all together, and fortunately, we were in the process of putting it all together because they want you to drop it off or mail it to them about a week before. So it really wasn't like we hadn't had an opportunity yet to do that. I don't want Jay White and Tommy Shaw coming back at us.
As Mark turns down the radio so that Styx doesn't hit us with a copyright issue.
Yes.
We're on our way.
Yes, we are.
Crossing our fingers and hoping for the best.
We will let you know.
I'm so excited right now, I cannot contain myself. We are here.
Yes, we are.
All right. Good. All right. Let's see how it goes. So, I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to film inside. So, we're going to have to just give you an update of what happens. And we will give all the details after the appointment.
And I actually did go down to the consulate yesterday, the day before our appointment today, just to do a couple of things. Number one was to see if they wanted me to drop off the said paperwork. And number two was to confirm the time, because they were like, come on in on the 20th.
And what he's not telling you is number three, schmooze a little.
Well, you know.
He's a good schmoozer from way back.
Of course, fortunately, the young lady that took care of us was the one that happened to be at the reception desk. And I went up with my broken Spanish and, you know, una pregunta, por favor. And she goes, we can do this in English if you'd like. And like, muchas gracias. You know, you know. So, but yeah, and she apologized profusely because she forgot to and just omitted putting the time in with the email. So, it wasn't a big deal. I was right downtown anyway.
Why did we have to go to the bank today?
Well, hold on. We got to start this. I mean,
okay.
Of course, you know, Gina's working from home, and she had a meeting this morning, and of course, we had a appointment. And
yep.
I'm going, we need to go, we need to go. I'm almost done with my meeting. We need to go, we need to go. You know, I'm almost done. You know,
yeah, he's watching his watch.
You know, so we did go. We got there in plenty of time. My goal was to be there 30 minutes early. Just in case of traffic, whatever. I did not want to be late. Nope. Just...
He's being cautious. He's being thoughtful and considerate.
And there have been times where we have heard horror stories of people who have been kicked out because they showed up late. So, right. You know, I was going on, if I was going to err, we were going to err on the side of being there a little too early versus being there too, you know, after we were supposed to be there. We get there and the line is almost out the door. It
is, but it's not our line, so it does not matter.
No.
We have an appointment.
No.
And she saw him.
Yep. And that was the other reason for going, because otherwise we'd have been just another couple of faces in the crowd, and she would have been, I don't know who these people were.
And we were not the only couple there.
No.
Yeah.
No. Matter of fact, there was one other couple, and then a single
man.
Single man who was in the same boat that was trying to get the same things accomplished that we were.
For the same reasons.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to the reasons.
But... So, she comes out, gets us, bring your paperwork back. We go back. We extract this huge bundle out of the
our
envelope,
big manila envelope,
you know, which was wedged in there.
So let's just get to the short of what you really needed. 1, original passports and a photocopy of each.
Yep.
2, if we were doing it just individually on ourselves, we would not have needed this. But because of income differences, we did not meet. And in Kansas City is a location that does want you to meet the full amount for each person. However,
in a couple of months, we were just,
we were only a couple $100 short for a few months. And they really do want all the previous months to be at least that amount. But if you're going to be a dependent, if one of you is the main income and the other one is a dependent of the other, and you have a document demonstrating that. In our case, we had our marriage.
With the apostille.
With the apostille. That was acceptable, so then we did qualify.
That facilitated that.
So that probably is where that extra $1,000 a month sort of thing falls into.
Yes.
If you get confused as to why people say, well, we both had to have the full amounts. That's because they qualified individually.
Yes.
If you qualify as a dependent of the other, it's not the full amounts for the dependent.
Yeah, and so fortunately, because we had prepared and we loaded for bear to go hunt for squirrel, we took everything. I mean, we did have, you know, solid 13 months worth of the financial statements. Only needed 6.
They only asked for 6.
Yep.
They gave us the remaining back.
Yep. And then she's going through it, and of course, because of those 2 months that we were that far, just, inches below where it needed to be, it was, well, you know, do you mind if one of you is dependent upon the other?
No.
Well, no, because we're both going to be going.
And we're pretty dependent on each other anyway, right?
So that wasn't really a big deal. So then she's going through, and she goes, oh, everything looks good. You know, let me go up and talk to the
head consulate.
Yes.
Yeah.
The head of the consulate to get the approval. And she comes back down. We're sitting in a different waiting area, and she comes back down, and she goes,
we have a problem.
We have a problem. It can be remedied, but we have a problem. Oh, God. What now?
No, we kind of knew it was going to come down to this, though. We did.
Well, we need signatures.
On the financial statements, they sent the email and indicated that they were now required to have a signature on your financials.
Which she quickly pointed out, that's why I sent the email out.
And we knew that. But when he took the statements to Bank of America, folks.
Oh,
Keep this in mind.
Hold on.
Yes?
Whoa. This is after we put them onto a thumb drive. I go to the FedEx store and I get them all printed.
Right.
And then go to Bank of America. And I'm talking with the customer service people there, have an appointment, and go, I need these signed. Well, we can't sign them. What do you mean you can't sign them? They're your documents. Bank of America corporate policy is that we are unable to sign any documents. Period.
And that's where the problem is. That's why you need to remember
Period.
Bank of America. If you have a Bank of America account and you're depending on your financials to be sources of Bank of America, and if the consulate that you're going to is requiring them to be signed, Bank of America will not sign them. They will not. We even went to a different branch today when we ran into this issue at the consulate. They said they have to be signed. And we said, but they refused to sign them. And she looked surprised. And she goes, really? They refused to sign them.
You're the customer.
They stamped them. They gave us their card. They would not sign them. So we said, okay, if we go to a branch office somewhere here in town and get them to sign, can we come back today? And she's like, yes.
Yeah, just get them signed.
All right, well, here's the gist of it. So far, there was no request for an employment letter, but they are insisting that the bank sign, actually write a signature on those statements.
Yes, they are. They did not want to do that at BOA.
But they're not accepting them here without that signature. So we are going to a different BOA than the one we went to. Something close by that will help me. My hair is out of control. So we're going to a different BOA to get a signature. And then they said we could come right back.
But everything else was good.
Everything else was good.
Yeah. Total Blaine, part of the signature, so.
More updates to come. And now we're just sort of driving all around Kansas City because it seems like every single road that leads to this BOA is closed.
For construction.
For construction. So now all the roads are detoured and closed, and we're driving and we're in loops and circles to get to a BOA.
And we're not exactly in the best frame of mind.
No, because now we're panicking.
Yeah.
Okay, so
she's on a break from work.
Again.
With the clock ticking.
With the clock ticking, just like it was up in South Dakota.
Like Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Starting to see a pattern here.
Yes, and I have to get back to work. I mean, I allotted us 3 hours to do this, and it literally ran into 4.5 hours because of this escapade. We get to the branch office. We speak to the branch manager in front of 2 BOA employee witnesses.
Who one of them, the one we first talked to, went, this really doesn't make any sense.
No. You kidding?
Yeah.
Let's see. We've been BOA customers for 20 years. All of our money is in BOA. Has always been in BOA until
not for long.
Until very recently. Here's the printouts from them, which they stamped.
Yeah.
But they will not sign them. We finally made it to the BOA. Well, that proved to be a worthless venture because BOA is not allowed to sign anything. And that came straight from the head person in the office at
the branch manager.
Totally different branch. They are not allowed to sign anything. And this consulate is requiring a signature. And we don't have 6 months of statements showing financial solvency from any other financial institution. That would mean that we would have to do nothing and switch all of our money to another bank for 6 months and start this all over again. So we're trying to figure out what's next. Round 2. Now, the consulate we went to wants them signed. keep this in mind. Not every consulate is requiring this. So all I can say, all we can tell you is, if you have a BOA account and you're planning to do this, you need to find another banking institution and move your money in there, and it has to be in there for a minimum of 6 months, up to 12 months.
Well, 6
with
months.
Statements.
6 months for temporary, 12 months for permanent.
With statements that the other banking institution will sign, or you can have a CPA or an accountant, financial advisor sign them for you, or we were told by the other couple, oh, you know, the other couple that was there with us, guess what bank they had, and guess why they were back in town with their paperwork?
BOA.
Yes, Bank of America, again, would not sign their paperwork. So they had to go get a CPA to sign it. So if you have a financial advisor, they can sign it. They also told us on the way out that if you write to corporate, they can mail you a letter.
But it's not signed.
But it's not signed.
So it doesn't do a damn thing.
Right.
So here's to cut it down to the nut, you know, right, what needs to be done. You either need to, if you have somebody who prepares your taxes or something like that you've been working with, that could be the person to put a signature on there.
Right.
It really doesn't matter as long as there's a signature on there, and that was sort of what was intimated after we got them signed.
Right. We got them signed. We got them signed. Okay.
They're signed.
They're signed.
And so, you know, what you need to take into consideration is you need somebody to sign them.
You need somebody to sign them, and don't depend on BOA to do it.
Don't even ask.
And it might just be beneficial to verify with the consulate that you're using if they require a signature. Then you don't even have to worry about it at all. But now we had to worry about it.
Now, one of the things that the other couple did mention was that they printed it out in color because it needed to have Bank of America's logo in the colors of the bank.
Right.
Well, after we spent the money to have them printed at FedEx, Bank of America was like, we can't stamp them unless we are the ones that print them.
And they don't have color
printers.
don't
have color printers.
No color printers at the Bank of America, so they were black and white anyway. So we spent almost $20 getting all these things printed. Didn't need to.
Came home and shredded.
Shredded them. But that was the biggest crisis of the day today, folks, honestly, was the whole signature issue. And this has been brought up in conversations. I know you guys have asked.
Yeah, we're just trying to give you... Now, once we got back there, going back to finish the process, of which we still don't know if this is all going to be...
Right.
Up,
I mean, honestly, just
down.
because they said, okay, signatures are good, okay, let's go. Now we have to do the interview.
Yep.
And we have no idea who the interview person is going to be. It's obviously not going to be the person who was assisting us, getting us together. And she had someone shadowing her to learn how to do this. And then that person had someone shadowing also. So there was a shadow of a shadow.
She had spotlights on her from both sides.
Right.
So there were shadows on the left and the right.
And none of them were the ones we had to do our interview with.
They were in there for mine.
None of them were the ones we had
they weren't
to do.
No,
they were witnessing.
Yeah, they were witnessing.
They were not the person interviewing us. So now the head person is interviewing us, and one at a time. We were not in a room together, so it was one at a time. Like you almost feel like you're at a police station being a little bit. It's a little nervous. I wasn't bad. I was fine. I'm going to tell you, he was nervous. For real.
All right.
He was nervous.
Let me clarify the nervousness. The nervousness wasn't in going in and talking, because as you people know, I got no problem running my mouth.
No.
That I can do. The nervousness was, this was the last hurdle that we had to clear.
Yeah.
And if this hurdle didn't get cleared, it wasn't going to be happening. I mean, you know, I mean, it would have been, but it would have just kept adding layers and layers and layers.
We just
of
wanted
stress
this done. So
we wanted this done so we could just...
I volunteered to go in first for the interview. Honestly, all I can tell you is if you're preparing to be interviewed, just be yourself, be honest. Don't offer anything extra. If they ask you a question, just answer the question very nicely. I mean, they really just wanted to know, where all are we planning on going?
Really?
How long? Yeah, because I guess they said, well, you know, I hear that you're going to be traveling. And I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
we're going, blah, 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 blah. And I just started rattling places off. And I guess they kind of like wanted to know why we wanted to have residency. And I said, well, we want to travel all over and find a place, you know, that we could permanently settle. So we're going to be busy for 4 years doing this. And then the question about my employment did come up. No, I was not asked for a letter. But yes, and thank goodness for that, but yes, I was asked if I was going to continue to work. And so I was honest, and I said, yes, I am. And they asked me what I did. And I'm not being dishonest when I say this, because as soon as I get my first contract, I said, I'm an independent contractor. And she asked me what I did. And I said, I work in IT healthcare, and that I interface and build orders and workflows for laboratory and radiology. She was very satisfied with that. She asked me how long I had been working, you know, my current position. Well, my current position is with somebody who came out and bought out the hospital where I worked.
Yeah, but you've been in that position for 6 years.
So I said I've been in that current position for 3 years because, well, these people that bought out where I work, they've only been there for 3 years, and that's about to end. So that's my contract. You know, and I just said, and she wanted to know how I secured positions, and I said, well, when one contract's up, then I go and I, you know, apply for another contract, and they usually typically last 3 months to a year or more. And I just started rattling off agencies like Alcu and Nordic and S&P. And she was quite satisfied with that. And then after this short little discussion, she said, I hope that you find your permanent home in Mexico. I guess that means I'm in, right? And then she said that he could come in next. And I left and he was in.
I walked in. They laughed. And mine was a little bit of a different tone. Maybe I just looked scarier or something. I don't know. It was more, tell us about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Well, see, but I'm in there as the main income, and he's my dependent. So they probably wanted to make sure
that I wasn't too shady. You know me, Slim Shady. Yeah, no.
Oh, gosh, no. Please stand up.
Yeah. But, so, you know, I mean, mine was more of, well, you know, what did you do pre-retirement? Well, I was in the photo industry. You know, one of my favorite topics, which someday I will do and get on my soapbox and do a video on, is the fact that people don't print pictures, and there's a generation that's going to grow up and not have anything to look at to recall who they are, who they were, for future generations after them. But enough about that. So, you know, they point me in a direction and go, talk. You know, I got no problem.
It's quite verbose.
You know, what else you want to know about? You know, why do you think Mexico's the right place? Because we love going down there. And I told the story that we first told to Ernie, and that was that we had a driver that took us on a tour of Chichen Itza.
Miguel.
And Miguel was the bomb. And he showed us parts of Mexico and the Mexican people. And that was what really turned us into wanting to go back and experience more and do a whole lot with the people versus being the resort rats that are afraid to walk off of the resort grounds.
Right.
And the other thing I pointed out was, I said that here's a huge difference. I said, when we walk the streets like we did in Isla Mujeres, you know, everybody talks to one another. It may simply be a buenos dias, buenas tardes, whatever, but they do it and they smile. And I said, you don't see that in this country anymore.
Right.
First of all, not many people are walking the streets anymore.
Right.
You know, and I could see them. They were all shaking their heads like, yeah.
You know, it's funny because right before I let him in, one of the things I had brought up was Brighton did a video recently where he was on the McAllen in La Paz, and I think it was maybe an election day, and I had mentioned how I watched this video and I was amazed that it's kind of late on a Sunday night, and all these families are out and they're enjoying time together. They're dancing, the kids are playing, people are on bikes and skateboards, there's bands playing, and I'm like, they don't do that here.
Nope.
They just don't do that here. Like, you need a special reason, like a fair or something. They just don't do that here.
Well, then who wants to be in a massive crowd of people in this country right now with the temperament? It seems like every time you get a group of people together, something bad happens.
Well,
and
but anyway,
just,
but they were shaking their heads as well when I said that it's so family-oriented. It was really refreshing to see something like that. So.
And I relayed to them, you know, how our daughters took it when we announced that we were going to do this. One of them went, well, yeah, of course. If anybody was going to do it, it was going to be the two of you. And the other two were like, really? You're going to move to Mexico? and so I explained, you know, our reasoning, and what we have told everybody was, you know, we live in Asheville, North Carolina, grand total of about 250,000 people in the greater metro area of Asheville. They had more murders occurred there than occurred in the city of 2.5 million called Mérida, Mexico. We're not talking about per capita, we're talking total murders. You know, and I flat out told them, I said, we're not moving to Tijuana. We're not moving to Juarez. Just like we're not moving to New York City and we're not moving to Chicago. You know, and there's parts of every place that in every country, you know, aren't good, aren't safe. And so they were going, I said, you know, here in Kansas City, there's some areas that you don't want to be in. And they were all going, you know, and so, you know, it's true of everywhere. You know, we all know where we should be, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you don't do what you're not supposed to do, and you're going to be fine. So, you know, other than that, then after we got all that done, did the interviews, did the fingerprinting. They did each finger, one at a time, like this, each index finger. And BOA, that finger. Anyway.
Shame on you.
Well,
I'm cutting that out.
No, BOA deserves that finger.
BOA needs to be raked over the coals for their policy because they literally could have ruined our lives today.
Yeah, but they did that, did the pictures, got that done. Then, as it turns out, we were the last people left in the building other than the consulate employees. But
she thought she'd play with us and say, I'm so sorry, but... And she goes, and I'm like, no, don't say that. She goes, and meanwhile, she's holding them in her hand, and I can see the paper. And I'm like, I would have cried.
and her boss had already said, welcome to Mexico, and hope you find your home. You know, so...
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I wasn't taking her too seriously when she said that.
I was just really so relieved. So we walk out of there and we are relieved.
Yes.
It was a like,
hoo-ah.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Success.
Woohoo!
Thank God. And the nice part is 1 month from today, we will be in the Airbnb at this time in Querétaro.
Yeah, like we literally start hitting the road in about 3.5 weeks.
Yep.
Yep.
So
it's coming.
We are on our way.
Yes.
So
and promise you, there's going to be a lot coming to this channel once we get this trip rolling.
Now, one thing I want to say is we did put on there today that we were successful, and the amount of congratulations and everything else was mind-blowing. And to Laura in particular, this would not have happened had you not steered us in the right direction. So major shout out to you, Laura, for pointing us to the Kansas City Consulate.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, but all of your support and everything else, it sort of felt like, okay, all of us did this.
Yeah, it was a group effort.
It was a group effort. And the best part is that for all of us, you know, us and all of you out there who are on this road and on this journey, I know there's some of you who are watching us who have already done it, that are in country.
Yep.
And for those, thank you, because you guys have given us some great tips and everything else. And there's some that are going to be at the same consulate next week. So make sure that the documents are signed. And that should help keep your stress level way down. Right. So, and other than that, go in and have a good time. Be positive. Tell them what you like about Mexico, why you want to be there. Don't get negative on this country. Just be positive.
Dress for success.
Yeah, be positive on their country. And, you know,
smile.
Smile and have a good time.
Be conversational.
Yep. Yep.
But just so, again, please keep in mind, this is what we experienced at the Kansas City Mexican Consulate. We all know they're all functioning a little bit different. It's their own show wherever you go. Call them or email them. Ask them exactly what they need. Bring it.
And more.
And more.
Take all the ammo that you got.
And that marriage certificate made it work. If we did not have it with us, we would not have qualified financially because we were just a couple.
Or we'd have been making yet another trip, and it would have been Sioux Falls all over again, and we'd have had 3 trips.
Or one of us would have qualified, and the other one would have just had to go as, you know, unification or something later. Yeah. That's exactly what would have happened.
Well, fortunately, we don't have to worry about that.
No. But Kansas City wants the full boat for both people. Yep. But if you're married, then they make it work. They do the lower amount.
Okay.
And proof of marriage. Yeah.
We are going to be returning 2 appointments to McAllen.
If anybody's trying to get into McAllen, let me tell you right now, we are returning. We are returning.
On the 23rd of November, we had 2.
We're going to put those 2 back out there.
Yeah.
We're going to let them know we don't need them.
And I know there's a couple of you who have been waiting and trying to get a hold of McAllen to get them. I know the odds are infinitesimal that you would just be able to call them and go, oh, Gringos R Us just released theirs.
Don't call them. Go and email them right now. Email them right now.
And we'll release them.
And let them know that we are releasing our appointments. You don't have to give them specifics. You can just say, you know, there is a couple who's going to release their appointments on November 23rd.
Yep.
You go email them right now if you want to go to McAllen, and you ask them when those appointments come up on November 23rd if you can have them. And they'll give them to the first people, I guess. And we're going to email them tonight, and we're going to tell them that they can release our 2 appointments.
That's the second email we're making tonight. The first one is to the facilitator in Querétaro.
Yes.
Because we got to get that done because we only have 30 days after we get in the country.
Right. So we're going to
start the process.
So now we're going to get in contact with the facilitator so we can have that stuff rolling. So when we arrive, we can be underway with that. And we're going to get our Mexican car insurance.
Yep. And our tip and all the other fun stuff.
We'll keep everybody abreast of that.
We'll let you know.
We just wanted you to know this is seriously what we had to do.
The weight of the world. It was not a good night last night. It was sort of like a kid on Christmas Eve who wants that one thing.
Yes.
And only that one thing. And it's not going to be a good Christmas if you don't get that one thing.
You'll shoot your eye out,
yeah,
kid.
Whatever, yeah. So, fortunately, it was a good Christmas.
It was a good Christmas, right?
So, we got what we needed. So, now it's time to start making all the... Well, we've made the plans. Now we got to really start finalizing them and, you know, doing hotel reservations and things like that because it's not that far in advance till we're hitting the road.
3.5 weeks, we hit the road.
So that's what happened. And as always, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you are getting entertainment out of this,
or any knowledge, anything of value,
anything of value,
please like, subscribe, and share with all your friends and family.
and make sure to ring the bell. That way you're notified whenever we drop new content.
Please leave comments below. You can ask us questions, anything you want. We'll try to answer what we can.
And a real quick plug, a lot of what we put together as far as what we took in all came out of the Mexico Relocation Guide. It's a great tool to use.
It is.
Not going to go any further than that because they've been great. So other than that, we will look forward to seeing you next week.
We are Gringos Are Us.
Expats with a plan.
We are doing it. You can too. Hasta la próxima vez.
Adios. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you when?
Next week.
Next week?
Next week.
Okay.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Ow!
Duh!
Bye, guys.